Good day, YouTube. Let me take you along on a journey on building a purpose-built Samba rifle. This rifle is chambered in 7mm load right now, but this will be later on, converted into 284 inches. So as I've already got 7mm load in Hova 1500 in 20-inch barrel. This one is 22.4 super light, the Tikka super light. Samba rifle is basically a purpose-built tool designed to be used with you as a complete package as a system, depending on what sort of area you want to hunt. The purpose of this rifle build is to be used as a backpack hunting rifle, so that's why I chose for super light version, lightest version. Right now in factory configuration, the bear rifle I weighed, it was 2740 grams, 38 grams. So I've done a bit of math. By the time I'm finished building this rifle with the scope and everything, down the road I will be putting a carbon fiber stock. So I was looking on internet. I will be saving a couple of 100 grams, 230, 240 grams on overall weight of the rifle. The scope I'm going to put is Vortex Razor LHT, 3 to 15 by 42. It's a lightweight, light package scope. I've already got a 7mm weight caliber, so the reason I wanted to convert this into 284 Winchester is just to extend the range of of the gun. I'm very happy with 7mm weight, the one I've got in my Hova 1500. That's also ultralight kind of gun, but that gun has a little bit limitation. As 7mm weight, you can extend the range. I'm comfortable with that gun up to 450 yards. I'm intending to use 162 grain bullets in this one, as this one has got 1 in 9.5 twist rate. Anyways, we'll start the scope mounting process, how I do the scope mounting, how I intend to do the scope mounting and everything. Another thing, I've already done first, whenever I get a brand new rifle, the first thing I do is set up the trigger pull weight. I've already done it. I set it just under 2.5 pounds, like 2 pounds 1.3, somewhere around there ounces. So I've already cleaned the barrel once when I took it out of the box. So now let's start the scope mounting process. So first things first, starting with the scope mounting process, first thing I tend to do is level the action first so that it's perfectly straight. And I'm going to use this bubble level. I'm going to match this on my barrel, because later on I'll be putting, this one will be off, but this will be always there for reference on the barrel. So this will move around, so that's why this is must. The kit I'm using is Wheeler Engineering. So I tend to put some around here. Firstly, I'll be putting everything hand tight. Nothing final yet. There are many steps to go on, but I just want to have a feel of the rings and the eye relief. So by the time, because now I've already clamped this thing, the bubble level to the barrel. Once I put the scope rifle back on, I know if this is level, my gun is level. So nothing much, just finger tight, that's it. Because once I'll do the final, everything in final go, I'll put Loctite on all of the screws so that nothing comes loose. That's it, a little bit, not much. Just a hand tight, putting the scope on, having a feel of it. I'm just going to do hand tight and get the rifle on my shoulder just to feel my eye relief, how it feels. And then once I get it, I'm going to put a pencil mark here. So the next time, once I'm going to do the final version of scope mounting, when I'm going to do 100% final, I know where my scope eye relief is supposed to be. So, yep, scope looks level with the gun. Yep. I'm going to take it off now. Normally, my experience said it should be spot on, but I'm going to double check anyways. What I tend to do, I tend to put scope roughly, not at the full magnification, but roughly, this is 3 to 15, so 8 to 10 power. If I'm doing outside, then I go for full power. But over here, I'll just put 8 powers. Right now I'm indoor. Yeah, overall the gun balance feels really good. You can see how the eye box feels to me. That should be my normal. Maybe I'll move forward a few millimeters. I feel so. I'll just move it forward few millimeters. That's it. Double check the bubble. Now, looks good. Just a little more finger tight. Just one more time, final check. And I reckon this time the eye box should be perfect. Yep. Oops. Yep, looks good. Just check it on. Perfect. And let's check it on maximum magnification, just in case. Spot on. So I know my eye relief now, so I'm just going to draw a small mark along the scope ring, so that when I put the scope on next time, I know that this scope should be, once these lines are visible to me, I know that was the spot where my eye relief was. So now we can take the rings off, deassemble the scope mounting. So I'm going to take the ring off. That's rear. I tend to keep both separate because once I'll be lapping, and after the lapping process is done, I know that which one was front. What I tend to do with the Sharpie inside, I do a marking that the front ring, this is the front and this is the back, so that maybe in future I need to open the scope, or unmount the scope or something, I need to change something or something. I know that these rings, which one is front, which one is rear. Okay, so the scope goes here. Before we start that process, I'm going to remove the action screws, the scope mounting action screws, put some Loctite, and then start the lapping process. around just a little bit, that's it, so that once they're in, then I'll move just a little bit again on the front, another one. Same process with the rear one. Now I'm going to use the torque wrench. Looks perfect. Now I'm going to do the lapping of the rings. For that, I'm going to apply a little bit of this lapping compound on both. On both ends of the ring, bottom one and the top one. This step is very important because doesn't matter, the rings might be of top quality, but the surface area they are clamping on the scope is pretty much very minimal. So once you've done the lapping of this thing, the more surface area it's grabbing the scope, there are less chance you will knock your scope out of zero, and also more more equally equal amount of pressure on the scope body. As you can see, the metal has shaved off where the rings were not aligned 100%. So before I mount the scope, I'm going to put these two attachments and double check by putting the scope mount. If these two pins align, that means the mounts are perfectly putting 100% pressure and scope is not getting pushed, or the force is absolutely perfect and the scope is not, the rings are not trying to bend the scope. So what this tool does, it gives you a reference of the amount of pressure the scope mounts are putting. Once these two pins align from all the directions, from the top they're perfect, and I'm going to check from the eye level from the side. Looks like the lapping job is done perfectly. Yeah, both the pins are aligned perfectly, so that means The lapping process is done its job. It shaved off the metal, and now the rings are putting perfect amount of pressure, and they are not talking once they're fully tight, and they are not pushing the pressure on the scope tube. So that's the main reason this step and this tool is very important before you mount the scope. And now it's just the final step. Same thing. Put some Loctite on it, on the screws. 16 foot-pound. That's what Vortex says on the website for the scope mounting. So I'm going to change the torque on the torque wrench, 16 foot-pound with the Sharpie. So I know my eye relief was somewhere around here. So that's where I'm going to put the scope. Put this on top of the scope. This and this bubble level will remain while I'm tightening the scope. Same thing, just a little bit of Loctite. Yep, scope is level. Gradually keep tightening them. And the gap between the rings should be matching the other side. Yep, scope is plumb. I'm going to bring this down to 16 foot-pounds. Yep. That's it. Now pretty much that's it, but before we end, I'm going to put this bubble level on scope so that once I'm in the field, I know with the bubble level my gun is fully, standing upright. It's not on canting either way. That is very important if you're shooting long range. If you don't have this bubble level, you don't know your gun is perfectly, straight. And if it's canting, um, the shot's going to go off. You will have windage problems. So then you will be chasing your tail. Why did my shot go right? If the wind wasn't that much, or wind was the other way, and the shot did again, go the other way. So to avoid those issues in the field, always use the bubble level. So that's the last step. We're going to use this bubble level, and that's it. That's how I do the scope mounting. I tend to put it somewhere on here or sometime here. Let's see. Well, that's it for now. That's how I mount the scope, and that's how it's supposed to be done. So that in the field, when you're not chasing your tail, once it's done properly, correctly, rifle shoots perfectly. Once you start extending your range, and everything is perfect, there are no doubts coming in your mind. If something screws up, definitely you are screwing up. It's not your gun. So that's how we do it now. I'll see you in the next video. I'll take this gun down the range, and we'll see you in the next video. Let's see how the 7mm load initial loads perform, and from there on, I'll take you along how the gun performs in the next phases. Thank you very much.